workout gyms and PE instructors who help people with disabilities stay strong and get stronger so they can stay independent. Anyway, before I go off on my tangent, because I can talk about the beauty of helping one become independent from maybe 10, 15, 20 years of its institutionalization, which is what I have experienced over the last 2 years working in this particular program. And believe me, it's like, you know that song by Cream? I don't know if how many of you listened to that particular group in the 60s, but that's one of our theme songs, because I call these guys who are making that jump, that transition from institutionalization to independent living. I call them road warriors, number one, because they are exactly that. On top of that, we're doing a video, and one of the theme songs is "I Feel Free" by Cream. That's Eric Clapton was the guitarist, and Ginger Baker, Jack Bruce in the 60s. And what we're doing is we're going to videotape them the day they're discharged. They're going to be going down a very steep hill, usually in San Francisco, and we're going to put that track on, and the lyrics go like this: "I feel free, ooh." You don't want to hear any more of my singing, but in any case, they're going to raise their hands if they can. They're driving mostly power chairs down this hill, and they're going to be yelling out, "I feel free," because they are finally free. And it really, really, really warms my heart, and I'm really proud of the peer mentors that help the mentees attain this independence, and it's amazing. And so far, I have to tell you that it's been very successful, because none, and I say zero, of the 16 or so that we have helped transition to an independent lifestyle have ever had to go back to Laguna Honda. Fingers still crossed, and we say our prayers every day. But they're doing a great job of adapting. And the one thing that the peer mentors have done is really help them build their self-confidence, number one. And how do they do that? They basically do that because they're disabled as well, and they made that transition, and they have been living independently, successfully. And they have showed that people with disabilities can make the jump from an institutionalized lifestyle to an independent lifestyle, and they tell them on an emotional basis, this is something a social worker or a care manager can do with a mentee. Because why? They're not disabled. And that's what the feedback I'm getting from the mentees is that basically, hey, this is a great program, because I'd rather talk to a person in a wheelchair like me who's done this before, because I am kind of scared after living here 10, 15 years. Yeah, Laguna Honda supplied the breakfast, lunch, and dinner at a certain time every day. They've helped me. Nurses help me with my medication. They help me go to the bathroom. They transfer me to the commode. But I realized after talking to these mentors that, hey, I can do this myself with some help. With what kind of help, I'd say? With IHSS, with my own attendant. And this is also a big part, as Fran said, that she passed out these white papers that they can actually do this themselves, and what they can, with an IHSS worker, they can live independently. And that's part of this consumer power and this consumer direction that we're all talking about. And let me just go back a little bit. This is not about peer mentoring, but I just wanted to tell you about the success we're having in San Francisco with the peer mentoring program, and how significant it is with regards to helping people with disabilities, other people with disabilities, become independent. And it's really successful, and I hope it catches on elsewhere in the state. Before I continue, I'd just like to thank Heidi Carten. Heidi Carten, who cannot be here today, she actually wrote this particular white paper that is at your table. And I got a call from Janie last week letting me know that Heidi couldn't make it for this morning's consumer direction panel discussion. So she asked me, and I agreed. But Heidi actually is the one who wrote this, and actually she got a lot of her information from the paper that was done a number of years ago by Janet Canterbury, who's in the audience. Hi, Janet. This morning, and Donna Kalame, Nancy Seiden also had input, and Janie Whitford in past discussions about consumer direction. And what I wanted to do at the very beginning here is just read the first paragraph of the draft, of the white paper. It's fairly significant. Many elements that make the IHSS program a successful model at providing community-based long-term care in California, unique among them is consumer direction, and that is so true, especially as it regards IHSS, in-home support services. The principle of consumer direction in the IHSS program is a key element that has also been incorporated into the development of IHSS public authorities. This paper outlines the importance of consumer direction in California's IHSS program and defines its features and identifies interests in maintaining consumer direction in IHSS today. I got to tell you that basically I remember, and I'm aging myself, I am 58 years old, but in 1973 the IHSS program started. And basically, as I look back on it now, because I was a client, it was really based out of the medical model. And pretty much the rehabilitation specialists, the rehab, Department of Rehab, basically were telling us, the consumers, what we needed to maintain or even to transition into an independent lifestyle. And I kind of resented that back then. And they basically had these agencies, contract mode agencies within IHSS, that basically, if the IHSS social worker that evaluated you decided you should be part of that mode, well, you had no choice with regards to who you're going to hire, train, fire in terms of your help at home, your home care worker. And I resented that back then even. And that's why I was so happy to see in the 1990s, 1996, 97, consumer direction getting stronger and stronger within the IHSS program. Why? Because people with disabilities as well as seniors cared, and they wanted to have their choice to choose their own home care worker to help them maintain their independence at home and help them with the chores, with the personal care, the cooking, everything it takes to be independent. And that is really the beauty of consumer direction, and that's where we're at now. And I could go on and on because you know that the Schwarzenegger administration is trying to pretty much delete the IHSS program as we know it, and therefore is trying to delete the consumer direction part of the program.